Well, here we are, everyone. Good morning and welcome to the Daily Huddle. The Daily Huddle is a 30-minute conversation that gives you what you need to deal powerfully with your circumstances, make better decisions, and get better results. Your hosts are myself, Saurel, Quettan, and my business partner, Giovanni Gonzalez. We are both business and personal leadership coaches for over 20 years. Giovanni, please say good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining in on this Daily Huddle. We're truly committed to leave you with tools and insights that set the tone for the rest of the day and leave you powerful with whatever circumstances that you're in, whatever you're dealing with. So I'm really excited to be with all of you this morning.
Really excited. And you know, the thing that really excites me, Giovanni, is that you and I decided to do this as a way to give back to the community. And I'm inviting each of you who are listening, whether you are in Australia or in Paris, know that you are joining us in this quest to do good in the world and to make a contribution in the face of the circumstances that we're all dealing with, given the coronavirus epidemic. And today, Giovanni, I'm excited to have a very dear friend of mine, an expert in the field, as our guest. Her name is Agata Domond. Agata Domond has been in her field for over 10 years. She is the CEO of a company called Launch My Career LLC, and she is a career and talent development consultant. She's been working in this community and throughout the world for over 10 years. And today, Agata is with us to consider this question. How are you managing your time to stay productive and continue to generate revenue for your business in this time of crisis? Ladies and gentlemen, world, welcome Agata Domond. Agata, good morning.
Good morning, Saurel. Good morning, Giovanni. Hello, everyone. Good morning. I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I love team huddles, right? It was one of the things I used to live for as a supervisor managing a team. So give us a chance to get together and just kind of huddle and set the tone for our day. So thank you so much for having me. It's been a challenge, right? It's been like many of us, I think, as we have Helen, Maria, as women, men, in your careers and also as parents. I'm here in Georgia. So for us and many colleagues across the state, we're now teachers. If it wasn't in your heart, if it wasn't in your trade, you're now been ordained, you're a teacher, all your certifications, everything you need, you've been given that, right? Starting when we got shut in. So that was the biggest, when we talk about time management, that was the biggest thrust for me as a business owner, as a ministry leader, as manager of teams, as a parent. How do I manage my time?
How many children are you dealing with now?
It sounds like a lot, right? I have two boys, two energetic boys that were doing great in school, that love to learn. Energetic. Did I say energetic already? I don't know how many of you moms
you did.
I did, energetic. So third grade and kindergarten. So being home all day, and I also work with millennials in their careers. And I have millennials that were set to graduate that are not having graduation ceremonies. So I mentioned all of that to say, how does that impact our time? And how does that impact my time going into my business? One thing I know I had to do, and you guys could kind of raise your hands or let me know if you can relate to this. I had to go back and look at my time blocks. I'm by trade a senior technical project manager. I operate, Helen is shaking her head. I operate in time blocks. I used to do days, but now incorporating my kids in the equation, I do time frames, right? So, and in doing that, what I found for myself in my business is how do I fit in those revenue generating activities? My kids love to, go ahead.
Can you go back a little bit and say what you mean by time frames as opposed to time blocks? I missed that part.
Definitely. So when we talk about time management, one thing you want to look at is what is your time management styles? So are you more of a wing it type of person? Let's play it by ear. Are you more of a, I need everything color coded? I need a schedule. So what's your style? Are you spontaneous or you're type A that needs everything delegated and assigned? And so one of the ways to manage a certain task, or you do time blocks, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., I'm only checking emails. You know, the phone could be ringing, someone could be messaging me. I'm not doing anything else between that time frame except check emails. So how do you govern your time? And why is that important? Now that we're teachers, right? We have little ones. How many hours am I designating a day to homeschooling? That wasn't part of the equation 2 weeks ago. And if you listen to the time day blocks or time blocks, you understand as a teacher, you only get Does that make sense?
That makes sense. That
Okay.
makes sense.
So and I'm using the kids as an example because I see moms, that's what's on our forefront, but we also operate in other veins, right? We also have our careers. Some of us are managing teams. How do we help them to stay calm and still productive? Because what changes now, we're all operating from home. We're all working from home. And you have some industries, that's an easy thing. That's an easy transition. You have some teams where the chaos is too much. You have to kind of help your teams along with that, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's making sense. So how are you managing Launch My Career LLC? As the CEO of Launch My Career LLC, I get what you're doing with your children, creating time blocks to be both teacher and CEO. Now, how does Launch My Career LLC manage its business? How are you managing the business to continue to generate revenue and serve your clients?
Right now, we're in the process of revamping my online space. So I've had to create a time to be more visible online on LinkedIn and in social media platforms. Because I needed more visibility in my business. So now I have to set aside time to face my customers. Where I had time blocks to talk to clients that I were already part of Launch My Career LLC, I've had to put a new gap to talk to my millennials, like I mentioned, that are not graduating or having a graduation ceremony. So I've had to allot more time to assist those millennials that are worried about, okay, what's the next step? I had interviews scheduled, I had companies that I had jobs starting with, and all that is now on hold. So as a leader, as a CEO, yes, I want my clients to get ahead in their careers, but I also have to make sure that I'm talking to them in their mental well-being too. And if you have millennials as children or in your environment, you know everything is major. So in the discussions, I have to, Helen sees it, everything. So I have to take more time to say, okay, well, let's take a deep breath. Let's feel your emotions. And I just talking to one yesterday. I can cry with you because I realize how hard that is. So let's feel the emotion, let's process it, and let's say, okay, these are careers or the appointments you had set up. When are they rescheduled? How do we pivot? Can you do digital interviews? Right? So now I'm doing more trainings with my clients. How do you set up a Zoom training? How do you set up a digital or a remote interview and come across the same authentic and genuine person? So that's the shift in my business. So I'm doing more one-on-one with my clients as opposed to group coaching because they have so much variables going on that I want to talk to them and make sure that I see them as the person.
So
and go ahead.
No, keep going.
And so how does that impact my revenue activities? So for right now, I was launching a challenge, a 7-day challenge, or get hired, get paid. So that I had to kind of revamp that program because how I was telling them set up interviews is not their norm right now. So I had to change that revenue generating activity to say, okay, I need to do more one-on-one consultations. So some of my systems had to change. You know, how they book time with me had to change. So that goes back to the revenue generating activities and your time management.
So in other words, even though the whole structure of how you do business changed, you shifted and you're continuing to do business, yet you're doing business in a completely different way. And some of it may be permanent.
Definitely. And it's a
Are you,
permanent.
yeah, are you seeing some things that, oh my God, I have to do this now because of the crisis, but yet it's a revelation and it's something that you may end up adopting even in the aftermath of the crisis?
One thing I love is how we do meetings, right? And I'm an introvert by nature. So if I could do something online on Zoom, that was my quickest way to meet with my teams. Let's get on a call, let's get on a video chat. But we also have other managers, other team leaders that's like, bring everybody in, drive through Midtown. What this is teaching us now, every meeting does not have to be face-to-face in person. We could be as productive using our technology, using the platforms that's available to us. So right now, I'm loving it, especially in ministry. Everything that I had to go on campus for, we're on Zoom. we're teaching our more seasoned leaders how to get access to Zoom, how to do teleconferences. And what I notice now going forward, what we didn't have in place in our business, what we didn't have in place in our ministry, this is forcing us to say, I need to incorporate this as a component of my business. I need to make sure my teams don't just assume that they know how to get online. Don't just assume they know how to work from home. Let's start training them so if this does come up for another more than extended 1 or 2 days, they're equipped for it. And another thing as a business owner, I realized too, and some of you, if this is for you, whatever career you're in, whatever profession you're in, I have friends that we talk and we're there for each other, we support each other, but is my job my only source of income? That can't be business as usual. You know, this time has triggered me to think, am I only making revenue one way in my business? And if I am, how do I fix that? Because the way this sneaked up on me, and I'm sure it sneaked up on Albert, Adrena, how it sneaked up on us, there's something that's going to come down the line that's going to sneak up on us again. Have we learned anything from this time that we're shut in?
And from your standpoint, Agata, what's the biggest lesson you're learning?
My biggest lesson, I need to have more than one revenue stream. I love careers and I teach careers, but everybody in every stage of life have to have another way to generate revenue. And we have to do it now. It's not wait till we retire, wait till the kids are out from home. Because like I mentioned earlier, my kids are my life.
Yeah.
So I'm all in and I'm still all in, but I realized I have to set up my time a little bit differently and have more revenue coming in without my hands being on it so I can take care of my family. Does that make sense? Because a lot of things that we do, we have to continuously touch. But if you're, whatever career, whatever profession you're in, do you have another way of making money from that?
Yeah.
And not just a quick hustle, because we don't want to do something in this 2-3 weeks that's just quick, but something that taps into our passion. Something that we tap in that if we could do this for the rest of our lives, we'll be happy and we'll be able to sustain ourselves and our family. So when the time ends, when we're back into our normal flow, when we're back into the workplace, what do we come out with? Do we come out with a new business? Do we come out with new contacts? Do we come out with new ways of networking? That type of thing.
Awesome. Awesome. Want to take a little pause, Agata, to acknowledge the people who've joined us in progress. I see my friend Albert from the Haitian United Front. I see Samara Gracia, who's there, Fabiola, Fabienne, Ana Laura, welcome, welcome. For those of you who didn't hear it at the beginning and are joining us for the first time, the Daily Huddle is a community service that Mindful Performance Blueprint and my company, Execufit, have pulled together as, spurred on by this crisis. We said to ourselves, how do we give back to the community? So when you come into this conversation, it's a 30-minute huddle designed to leave you equipped with what you need to deal powerfully with your circumstances, make better decisions, and continue to deliver results for your business. I want to acknowledge my business partner, Giovanni Gonzalez, and give Giovanni a moment to interact with you, Agata, from a different perspective. Giovanni, say good morning to the gang who's not been here, and let's dig into this question of how are you managing your time to stay productive and continue to generate revenue for your business a little more.
Yeah. So thank you, Agata, and all of you for being here. I was listening to you. I'm taking notes, and I'm just bringing everything to my life, right? And you were saying a few things like, what is your style of managing your time? Are you kind of someone who wait until things are happening and then you kind of get going, or things are up in the air, or you put blocks of time and then to do certain things, and then also there is the aspect of having blocks of time that create income generating activities, which are critical for all of us on the call. What are my actually there is a what am I doing that generates revenue, and what are the activities that generate more revenue or less revenue? It's just gonna get me to thinking in those terms. And then the other thing that you were mentioning that I thought was for me to look at is, well, what is another way I can create revenue, right? And I was thinking all of those things, right, are like a whole new way of living life, a whole new way of looking at life, and a bunch of new emotions, right, happening internally for me and for so many people. And I remember, I don't know if you had a chance to read the book, Who Took My Cheese Away? Did you ever read that book, Agata?
Yeah, Some of My Cheese, definitely.
Yeah, so I'm thinking in those, like, you're reminding me of that book. Like, well, everybody took my cheese away. I want my cheese back. If you haven't read that book, you have to read it, by the way. So anyway, that's what I was present while you were sharing, all of that. So I have a question, and I don't know if this is the question to guide the conversation, but I have a question. As we're looking at the cheese going away, right? What would you say, based on your experience, are some industries where people can focus on because they're going to be thriving anyway? They're going to be taking on steps moving forward a lot faster than other industries, so that I can take a look at that.
So your question is, what industries
do you see that are industries to focus on as an income generator, to put blocks of time to get to know more of that industry, and to maybe even create revenue around that industry, since some industries are not being impacted by what we're dealing with anyway?
I think, and that's a great question. I think more so of what industry, it's what component of the industry is online. So there's no one size fits all. So whatever industry, whatever career path, whatever your business is, now is not the time to like blow everything up or demolish it and start new or chasing another rabbit. Now is not the time to do that. Whatever industry you're in, the key is brick and mortars, even, we'll take an example with the teaching, and we thought, okay, we can only, my kids are in soccer, right? Well, they can only go to a soccer camp. They can only go to a soccer field and have the coach. But what I'm doing now is they could do it online, and the coach loads up a video if we submit to the class, and they do their training virtually. So the revenue is there, is how you're generating it, right? So you don't have to change about pivoting or changing career, changing industries. If it fits you and it's part of your vision, the key is to have an online component. The last example I'll give you, if you're a baker, if you have a storefront, we have a lot of small business owners that are like dog groomers or have, places where there are people bring their pets if they're traveling. So that's a needed brick and mortar. What is the online component of that? What is the activity that you need to do to bring that business online? Does that make sense? And every industry, there's a teaching. All this knowledge that we have so many professionals here that you guys are listening to me. All that knowledge you have, how do you bring that to your customers? How do you bring that to the next generation? For me, I have a heart for millennials because I know how hard it was going as an immigrant, going from like minimum wage to six figures. I know how hard that transition is. So that's one of my passions, is to teach other individuals, how do you lessen that curve? So it doesn't take you 2-3 years to move from position to position. So that's where our focus is.
I really like what you're saying, and I'm gonna underline it again because I really loved it. What is the online component of what I do? It's not necessarily the way I was saying it, like, oh, the cheese, somebody took my cheese, let me start all over again. But more like, let me look at what is the online component of what I do, and how do I allow myself to start teaching, which the online component will give me access to that. How do I start teaching people about what I do? And it certainly is of value for folks, and it can become a revenue activity.
Definitely.
Awesome. So
but you have to have the time management piece, right? You have to have the time management piece. In the middle of that is self-care. I know I have to have time in the morning before the house gets crazy, before every activity, to try and really focus. When we talked about time blocks and day blocks, how far in advance do you come sitting down? What do I have coming up this week? So that's key as well. So just giving yourself enough time, and don't get overwhelmed. Like, don't get off this call thinking, I have to do this now. What did she say? Where are my notes? Who do I need to talk to? Take a deep breath, set in contact, get connected with the right groups, and just get into motion. Because this is what we're learning now. How do we get in motion? How do I change my reality if I'm not happy with it?
Perfect. This is a conversation designed to empower not only you, who's leading us, Agata, but also the people who are watching us worldwide, as well as the people who are here live, participating in the live audience. So to empower yourself to deal powerfully with the circumstances demands that you actually acknowledge what they are for yourself. And one of the ways you can, on this call this morning, is by jumping in and asking a few questions based on what you are dealing with personally. What questions do you want to ask Agata, specifically regarding the way you're managing your time and the way you want to create your business to continue to generate revenue? Who's got a question or comment? The floor is yours.
I do. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. I have a drug testing business, and I also do DNA tests. I find myself this week like brainstorming to see how can I make myself more, not visible. I'm already visible online as far as, the clinic and things like that, but how will I be able to transition this service where it's like online, you understand? Because part of the regulations, you have to come into the facility, or I have to go into your facility and test these individuals. So how would I be able, I brainstormed this week, like, okay, maybe I could send them the kit and then visually have set up some kind of Zoom or something where I could see them completing the tests and things like that. But again, I still have to go through HIPAA law. I still have to go through so many things. This week, this is what I'm brainstorming, just to see, like, okay, how can I do this where my business could stay afloat during this time frame?
That's a good question, Samara. And I definitely want you to stay in compliance. I definitely want you to stay in HIPAA, within HIPAA guidelines.
Yeah.
I think the main thing, one key I learned in business is you'll generate or you'll earn more income teaching people what you do versus doing what you do. So if you want to kind of sit around, if you have a coach, you're connected to this network to see, how do I expand my services outside of just the physical test? Are there other professionals in my industry that need training, that need support, and how you got it? Okay, good. I see that light bulb.
Yeah, like a light bulb just went
Okay,
up.
good.
I got it, got
Okay.
it.
So you generate more by teaching people what you do versus doing what you do, depending on the business that you're in.
Just adding another service to it, like teaching them the components of it. I got you.
Okay.
That's
Thank
an
you.
awesome question, Samara. Thank you for asking that. Thank you for empowering yourself to continue to generate revenue in this time of crisis. I appreciate that. Agata, thank you for responding to the question the way you did.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Giovanni.
Actually, I'll wait if somebody else has a question, then I'll ask the question. Anybody else has a question?
Adriana has a question.
Good morning, all. I have a question. I have two main sources of revenue. The first one is as a realtor. Real estate is really in difficult times now because we really rely on personal contact, showing the houses and that. But the other source is that I am an energy healer, a Grand Master Reiki. But in that source, I am not visible online. People know me better by my broker, and I'm not sure it is the right time to teach and charge for my time teaching energy healing, or I will be seen as an opportunist doing that. The reason why I didn't promote myself as an energy healer is because in Georgia, there are certain mentalities that, let's say, qualify you in the wrong way. And I don't want to be seen as a witch or something like that. I'm very serious about the energy healing and I'm very good on it. So that's my question.
Awesome, Adriana. I think you have a heart, being in that industry, it seems you have a heart for individuals, right? And with
Yes.
all the chaos, I think I saw a lot of people smiling while you were talking. That's a much needed service. So I would challenge you to get an online component for both aspects of that. I have friends in real estate that they're doing virtual tours with homes. And on the other side, being an energy healer, you can offer that service. There's a lot of people, we're going through stress and we need that calm. We need those services. So don't ever feel, I would say, don't feel guilty. Don't worry about what other people are going to think. Because what's going to happen, when you worry about what other people are going to think, you're going to stay stuck. You're going to stifle your finances, right? And you're not going to bring joy to yourself because you're worrying about others. So don't do that. If you know you're coming from an authentic place and you know what you have people need, then offer that.
Okay, thank you.
Offer that, definitely.
Awesome. Now, not to cut everyone off, but indeed to cut everyone off. We're 2 minutes away from the end of the huddle. I want to thank every single one of you for being on the huddle. I want to thank you for whatever you will do after you get off the huddle to tell your friends and tell others about the huddle so more and more can join us so we can continue to empower one another. Giovanni, you had a question to close it off. You've got 1 minute, my brother.
Yeah, no, it was too big of a question, but I'll throw it so it doesn't stay in people's head. The question I had for Agata is she had a 1, 2, 3 for how to manage our time better at home, like what she does, and then that was the real question.
Well, Agata, you've got 30 seconds. 1, 2, 3. What's the
Get
best?
a calendar, get a piece of paper, get to writing. Don't leave it by chance. Write it down. Get your vision and write it down.
Okay.
Awesome.
And get into action.
Well, today is the 25th of March. This is episode 3 of the Daily Huddle, where you come to get what you need to deal powerfully with the circumstances of your life, make better decisions, and get results. Thank you for being on. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same time. Have a great day.
Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.